Prepper Cat here again. So here's what's going on. I'm gonna have to do a factory reset every time. So I'm gonna see if I can't get a cell phone, a new one, because this one's no good. Well, anyways, without any further ado, because I'm gonna have to factory reset every frickin' time. Um, I'm gonna get right back into where we left off on 240 things to hoard. Um, yeah, and we'll go from there. So, yeah, that's a pain. Um, Factory reset. No no good. So let's kick it off. Left off at 69, which is Tums. So number 70, Lysol disinfectant spray slash Febreze. Now, Lysol, you don't have to get Lysol. You can get an off-brand. I named a few brand names in this just because they're my personal favorite brands. I believe Lysol works pretty darn good. Febreze, again, that's a comfort thing, I suppose, yeah, but um, I mean, technically, you could trade it with your neighbors later on if they've survived long enough. And you could use it yourself. Like I said, comfort, so, why not? Freshen it up a little bit, your house there. 71, Witch Hazel. Um, I've heard of this before, but it's kind of relatively new to me. But it's an older product, I know that much. Witch Hazel, again, is another thing for cuts, bee stings, little things like that. Um, Number 72, rubbing alcohol. That's another medical thing, um, just to keep in mind. Number 73, baby wipes. You won't want to use number 74, which is disinfectant wipes, on your babies if you have babies, because they could cause rashes on your little ones. So, just to help keep them clean. And again, number 74 is disinfectant wipes, and so that's, disinfectant wipes. You can use that for everything that you already know. Number 75, Windex, which is a window cleaner, if you don't know, but again, brand name. But the thing with Windex is you can use that to clean just about anything. I use that to clean wood, metal, plastics, ceramics. Works freaking wonders. Um, I wouldn't recommend using it on dishes to clean them. um, yeah, you don't want to get sick, but something to think about. Number 76, carpet stain lifter. That's something you're not gonna find on anyone else's hoard list, but that's again, keep some normalcy in your life. If you have some Febreze, and your carpet stain lifter, say you have pets and they took a shit on the carpet, um, excuse my French, or they puked, or you or one of your family members or crew members, they took a puke, so they took a puke. That makes sense. But yeah, just keep some normalcy. Number 77, caffeine pills. You'll find that in some other hoard videos, or prep videos, but you get caffeine pills to stay awake, if it's like extremely cold, um, and I mean, if it's cold enough, you could die if you fall asleep. Um, especially if you're expecting a rescue or you're still trying to walk to a safe place. It's also good. It's not just for that. So if you're down south or in a forest or a jungle, uh, caffeine pills will help you stay awake again at night for predators if you need to, such as bears, mountain lions, and other things like that. And even if you don't need it per se for either of those, you could still take them when you're about to enter a risk or a high risk zone, um, or a battle zone, because it does heighten your senses. But if you are not used to taking caffeine or you have quit drinking coffee, um, Eventually, after that wears off, you will have a crash, so that is a negative and something to keep in mind. But again, it does heighten your senses for a time. And to avoid the crash, you could always take another one if you're still in the middle of something. Uh, Number 78, over-the-counter medications, such as cold, diarrhea, rash ointment, allergy pills, gas relief, heartburn, etc. Just a bunch of different stuff, because if you if you have even a small case of heartburn, after you've had that all day, it's gonna get to the point that it's so annoying you need to get rid of it. So having some of that on hand would be quite helpful. Number 79, hand sanitizer. Number 80, hydrogen peroxide. If you don't know what that is again a medical thing. Make sure you get 100% hydrogen peroxide and not stuff with fillers in it, because it is meant to clean wounds. So, small wounds or also big wounds. It cleans the wounds, it brings the dirt out, and it brings the dirt out by bubbling. And if you've never used it before, you're going to feel a sting, unless you're a real man. Uh, but yeah, it'll help you clean your wounds. Number 81, crystallized bleach. The reason why you want crystallized bleach instead of liquid bleach, if you don't know, liquid bleach goes or spoils rather quickly. Um, Crystallized bleach lasts a lot longer, and again with bleach you can clean your water, or again it's still bleach, so you can use it for cleaning other things as well. But usually it's mentioned for prepping as a purification of water technique. Number 82, gauze. Number 83, ace wraps. Number 84, quick clot. Number 85, crutches. Number 86, splints. Number 87, tourniquets. Number 88, trauma kits. Number 89, this is a strange one, wheelchairs. This is more of a compound slash homestead thing. Now, I'm not saying get 50 wheelchairs, but get a couple. Because some of the people in your group or uh, crew, family, eventually they're going to get old. And some of them, if they break a certain bone, like their hip, they're going to need a wheelchair eventually. Um, I myself will have a problem with that in my future, because of something that happened to me in the past. So that's why I mentioned it. Um, so it's not something that people think about too much, but again, you're going to get old someday. Number 90, stethoscopes. If you don't know what a stethoscope is, that is, if I'm not mistaken, you can use that to check your heart rate. So it's those things that the doctors use that have that metal V that they stick those things in their ears, and they put this little cup on your heart or on your back. If I'm not mistaken, that is a stethoscope. Number 91, bug spray, body and house. So to prevent you from getting bitten by bugs, so you don't have to use the other um, products up above, get yourself some bug spray so you don't have to use those in the first place. And the house, such as Raid, another brand name that I particularly like, um, it's pretty good. Obviously, it's a bug spray, so it'll help keep your house clean and or your compound or whatever. Number 92, sunblock. Number 93, handkerchiefs. Number 94, medical gloves. Number 95, blankets. Number 96, pillows. Number 97, sheets. Obviously blankets and pillows. But the reason why I'm mentioning sheets is not so you can have multiple things for your beds. Sheets, if you get white sheets and red sheets, the white sheets are for wrapping up bodies, to give them some sort of privacy and dignity after they've passed. And the red sheets, if you have nothing else, are for the bodies that aren't put together correctly. That is a very grim topic, and I'm sorry if you were in a good mood. But that's just the truth of it. The red sheets are so you know that that body isn't put together correctly. They could have been in some sort of accident where their arms and legs were ripped off, or shot off, with, say, a shotgun, because those can have some powerful rounds. Um, so I guess moving on. 98 tarps. 99 light bulbs. Um, Personally, I marked it down as daylight light bulbs. Again, this is a solar power thing. If you've got enough solar power, you've gonna have some light bulbs on hand. I prefer daylight just because it's very bright, but keep in mind daylight may or may not take more electricity than it does for a soft white, which is something that's dimmer, but daylight gives you more vision, so you can see better. Obviously. Uh, Number 100, nails. Number 101, screws. 102, powder concrete. This stuff is in case you plan on building structures after SHDF. Powder concrete lasts forever. All you do is add water. Obviously, don't add too much. And then you'll have the ability to make stone slabs or whatever else you need to do. Number 103, sandbags. Sandbags, the reason for those, if you don't understand the reason why I put that on the list, is they're very bulletproof. Personally, I don't know. I haven't done this. I haven't shot a sandbag before, but I know they stop bullets. The thing I don't know about them is once you shoot them, does the sand just start pouring out? It makes sense that they would, but to me, people use them all the time in in war. So when they get shot at, it seems to stop most bullets, but I don't know if that's a movie thing or I know in real life they use them, but I just don't know if it just starts spewing out all the sand after a couple shots and it's useless after that. I don't know. Um, this may get a little too detailed, but I know once you get sand really, really hot, it can turn into glass, and so with the speed of the bullet rubbing up against the sand, it may cause enough friction to turn it to glass, or some form of glass that makes it to where it doesn't start spewing out of the bag. Um, Other than that, I really don't know. Just an idea, just a thought I had. If you're going to be building things, 104, wheelbarrows. So you can carry your crap around. That's not what I was going to say. Uh, Number 105, shovels. Number 106, rakes. Number 107, scythes or sickles. Not a lot of people know what those are. If you're on a farm or a homestead already, you probably do. But for those of you who don't, it is a tool. In fact, if you'll let me, I think I might know where one is, and I can show you exactly what it looks like. Let's see here. If I go out here. That's right, that's not there anymore. Let me turn on a light. Anyways, it is a tool so you can help cut really long grass, and you're not going to have gas or electricity, or at least a lot of it, to do that. The reason why I mentioned something to cut grass is if you are going to do construction, you're going to need to clear an area out instead of having waist or chest-high grass. Let me see. I should have brought this one out. I do not know where it is at, so never mind. But coming out here, I've seen something else that caught my attention. Tree clippers. So add that to the bottom of the list. Again, if you're going to clear an area out to build something, you may need to clip some limbs up so you can build there. Let me unplug that light. Alrighty. Interesting. Well, now that journey's over. Anyways, let's go down to number 108. Tools, wrenches, screwdrivers, etc., wire cutters. Excuse me. Number 109. Excuse me again. Apologies. Small heaters slash air conditioner towers. Um, well, as you can see, you got a heater right there in front of the camera. Again, solar power, but we are very used to, in this day and age, of having temperature controlled houses, even garages and outing sheds. Um, Scroll down on the list here. Uh, so to keep, again, normalcy, but not only normalcy, but this could also be a survival thing. Um, because if you're not used to extreme temperatures and all of a sudden that hits your area, even if you're really young or you're really old, you could die from it. So that is actually very much a survival thing that I would consider. Um, Especially particularly if you live in extreme weather areas. Moving on from that, number 110, freeze dry, dehydrate, or vacuum seal machines. Uh, if you don't know, oh well, let's go from there. These are all things for food, except the vacuum seal machines. You can use those for food, but also other things such as some people say vacuum seal your guns or your ammo. I think that's ridiculous, personally, but what do I know? I'm only an American. I don't vacuum seal my guns or my bullets. But anyways, maybe in a cache, if you will. But that could be prone to compromising. Then maybe, yeah, I could see it then. But other than that, freeze dryers and dehydrators. Um, to my knowledge, freeze dryers are better than dehydrators in that they preserve food better for a longer shelf life. Um, so you could say you freeze dry some food, and then with that food, you put it in a bag. My eyesight just went there for a second. All right, then you put it in a bag for the vacuum seal machine, and that removes the need for putting an oxygen absorber in a bag with it. And assuming you do that all correctly, that should last you literally forever. You might not even have to put it in a cool, dry place because it's already sealed plastic. Um, and so water does not penetrate plastic. It can leach chemicals off of it, but if you're putting dry things in it, it's fine. So you should be good there, and that should last you indefinitely. Number 111, stapler/stapler gun and staples. Um, some people might want some explanation for that one. Um, but you know what? That's not this video. It was just an idea, and I don't have a reason for it. Now that I come to think of it, so apologies. But that was just an idea. Uh, Sorry, I apologize. I really do. Number 112, key/combination locks. Number 113, solar calculators. The type of calculators that just have like a little solar strip on it. You could just leave that outside for an hour. It'll be fine. Number 114, extension cords. Again, solar powered stuff. Number 115, 1 to 2 or more electrical outlet adapters. Kind of like those outlet strips, so you can plug in a whole bunch of crap into one plug-in in your wall. That sort of stuff. Caulking. If you don't know what caulking is, um, I'll show you. Actually, that'll be easier. But it's used in construction, or, for example, if you'll see, there's a crack in the cement. Get some cement caulking, put it in there. You can smooth it out and make it look like that crack's not even there. In fact, I got some cement caulking right here. I could do that with one of these days, if I so choose. This is caulking. There you go. And you have a little device. Oh, this one's already been used. That you put this in, little metal thing. Let's set this down. I'll show you. Little metal thing. Stop moving. Wraps around it, and the top of it shows. And then there's a metal rod with a little circular thing on it that goes inside of there, and then it pushes down, pushing down a second, more of a bag rather, inside of this tube that pushes out the caulking. I don't know how it's been. Oh, I guess it hasn't been used. My bad. As you can see, it hasn't been used. The way to use this is you would get some scissors and cut along. Let's do it with this fingernail, yeah. That, and make a little diagonal line. And then once you use that tool, pushes out, get a line of that, spread it off with a, what do you call that? I don't remember. I think I just call it a paint scraper, but then you scrape it across, flat, and it's gone. But, well, covers it up. But cement caulking is, as far as I know, it's stronger, so it won't deteriorate or break as much as the white caulking. But then again, to my memory, haven't seen that break. It's solidifies into like a very strong rubber. I haven't used cement caulking before, so I don't know if it solidifies the same way or not, but I would guess it'd be slightly different. Since it's not the color that they change completely, they change other things as well. Let's see, what do we got here? Number 117. Let's see, spray paint / paint primer. So, I mean, you know what you use paint for, but the primer, I don't remember if primer's before or after paint. I think there's something that you put on the wall or whatever you're painting first, and then the paint, and then something on top of the paint so the paint don't chip. I was talking about the stuff so the paint don't chip, but because spray paint, I don't think you need to, yeah, no, you don't need to put anything on the wall or whatever you're painting beforehand, but afterwards you may want to, I don't know, but just a thought. A more specific tool, normally I wouldn't include multifunction tools, such as the Stanley Fuber 3 tool, which is number 118. It's one of those things online that has a solid 5-star rating. If you are older, like I would say your 50s or maybe 60s and older, don't use the internet all that much, a 5-star rating on the internet is extremely difficult to obtain for any one object or thing, or even restaurant, person, whatever. And it has a solid 5-star rating, so it must be good, right? But it's if you don't know what that is, which I didn't know at first either, it's a combination of a crowbar, a hammer, I think even like, not really a pickaxe, but something to that effect, nail puller, a couple other things, I believe. But it looks intimidating, so you could also use it as a weapon, because that pickaxe part, it's rather sharp looking. And if you intend to use it as a weapon, it looks rather intimidating, like I said. So they might just leave you alone. Actually, speaking of that, they'd leave you alone because of the intimidation. Intimidation is a very smart tactic to use in anything, SHTF, or in a war altogether. If you can intimidate your enemy, you are doing pretty darn well. But, what do I know? Number 119, steel wool. Yeah, there you go. Number 120, pulleys. I know you know what a pulley is. Number 121, pickaxe. You can get a pickaxe for breaking up hard dirt, and hell, if you really wanted to, you could go mining with it. If you live, I wouldn't recommend this, but if you live in an area, let's say you're living in California, and you decide to stick through their gun laws and other laws that are stupid, and you decide to stay through those laws, after SHTF, there's some old mining caverns down there, and hell, if you got bored or wanted to hide, you'd go down there and start mining if you really wanted to. Now I know that sounds kind of ridiculous in a legitimate sense of doing things in real life, but it is an option. You could technically do it. They did do it that way long ago. They went out there with literally just a pickaxe and mined all day. I don't suggest you do that all day, but it's an option. That's why I put it up there. But for a more practical use for a pickaxe, the breaking up the hard dirt, again in construction, it is actually quite handy. Um, but number 122, a machete. Again, I guess that's a personal preference sort of thing. I don't know if I'm a machete kind of guy myself, but if you lived in a jungle, that's the type of job a machete's meant for. Is if you live in a jungle, if you live in a northern forest, machetes, to my knowledge, aren't nearly as useful because it's not designed for that sort of thing. Um, it makes work a little bit harder rather than easier, to my knowledge. Number 123, crowbars. Number 124, bolt cutters. Number 125, whistles. Whistles for signaling or um, if you're trying to get someone's attention. Uh, and again, if I go back up back to 124, 125 was whistles. Bolt cutters, in case you decide you're gonna get into a place that has a nice little lock on it. That's why I put that up there. Not saying that you should break and enter, because that's another thing I'd like to say. Whatever crimes you commit, if it just so happens that Uncle Sam pulls his stuff back together, you will still answer for your crimes. Especially if you were caught. So just something to keep in mind. I'm not telling you to break any laws. Um, you just do what you have to survive. Let's see. Number 126, multi-tools. I know I just said a little bit ago I don't like entering multi-tools, but the specific multi-tools, I believe they're Swedish made. A lot of Americans used to carry them in their pockets all the time. Not so much anymore, but you know, they I found I think they're kind of useful, but again, I try to stay away from multi-tools myself, but just another idea to put out there. Number 127, spool of twist tie. What that is that is just a giant roll of an uncut roll of twist tie. If you don't know what the twist tie is that I'm referring to, it's that stuff that they twist around the bread bags from your local stores. If you get, say, a really long piece, that's not a good representation. I'll just speak it. You get a couple feet of that, you can cut it off and have a couple feet of solid wire. Um, well, I say solid, but I mean just not broken up into those 1 inch increments from the store. Those can be useful for things like if you're harvesting plants, you can twist up certain plants to keep them together, like your onions, your chives, whatever. um, and other things, I suppose. But again, just an idea. You probably didn't think of that. I certainly didn't. Uh, something. No, that's not something I came up with. The next one is what I'm referring to, both that one that I just said and the next one, which is number 128, JB Weld. That is not something I came up with. JB Weld, if you don't know what that is, allow me to get up again for the third time and show you what that is. Some of these things I forgot was on the list. I did practically memorize it, but not quite. Also, we're getting to that mile marker where I'm not sure when this is going to cut off, to where I can't make any more. JB Weld, you can't see anything, but I can. Give me a minute. Is that that? No, that's something else. I know we have some up here. Where is it? Well, I'll grab this. And one moment.